Hello everyone and welcome to the very first episode of United Gamedom. My name is Darren, aka Darro. You may find me on YouTube, Twitter and Pete's Game Room Forum. And I'd like to introduce to you my co-host who is Liam. Say hello, Liam.
Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in.
He is also known as TheDonovanViper, and you can also catch him on YouTube and Twitter and also on, Pete's Game Room Forum if you are that kind of guy. Now, as I say, you might see a lot of podcasts about now, and, well, this one's probably just going to be the same thing, of course, but, we're both from the UK, so we're mainly going to be talking about sort of, UK gaming perhaps, but of course there'll be, international stuff as well. So, hopefully the plan is to, go through the sort of stuff that we've been playing. We've gone through gaming news, games we've been playing, and also a few little features here and there as well. So anyway, Liam, sorry. What are your plans, hopefully, for this podcast?
Just for everybody to have a good time, get our names out there. We're going to enjoy a nice, lengthy podcast. And basically, sit back, enjoy the ride, and hopefully you'll enjoy it as much as we do recording it.
Yes, that's pretty much it. As long as we have a good time, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. And also, as I say, if we get sort of, if we progress onwards, we hope to get some guests on. Not like, the big names now, of course, because we're not that, egotistical now. But, some of the ones who are not so well known around the YouTube gaming community, though. Like the ones, we see from, like myself and, Liam and that there, and a few others as well. So anyway, we're going to go into the news just a moment though, but just to, Liam, just talk a bit more about yourself and say what gaming interests you and things like that now, if you wish.
Well, I'm 21 years of age. I'm from England. Geographical, I'm from Cornwall. If you look at a map of the UK and you look at England in the bottom left-hand corner, it kind of looks like a hand sticking out. I live down there. Basically, it's full of countryside, and really, there's nothing much that goes on down here. Now, on to my gaming interests. I've been collecting now for about 18 months. I've been a solid gamer since I was 4, so back in 1994. The first console that I ever owned, from my recollection, was the Nintendo Entertainment System. But I remember first completing a game called A Link to the Past. And ever since then, I've been a massive Nintendo fanboy. I've owned other consoles such as the Mega Drive, the PlayStation 2, and all sorts of other consoles from different generations and companies, but to me, Nintendo has stuck out the most. And later on in the podcast, hopefully, I'll be talking to you more about my love of The Legend of Zelda, and I know Darrow loves The Legend of Zelda as well.
Yes, exactly. It's nice to see that you actually said A Link to the Past, because that actually is my favourite Zelda and also my favourite game of all time as well. I just absolutely adore that game.
So, really, that basically sums me up. I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I am a Zelda fanboy. And let's kick off this podcast with some gaming news.
Okay, you have to talk about myself as well before we get into that, sorry. My name is Darren. I am 26 years old. I've been gaming pretty much since I was 4 or 5 years old, from like late 80s to early 90s. I grew up with the 8-bit, 16-bit era. Absolutely loved the 16-bit era. That's what I pretty much grew up with. As I said, Liam said there that he's a Zelda fanboy. I'm not a Zelda fanboy, but I am a fan of the Legend of Zelda series. I pretty much like every genre except for strategy and, sports, because they're just pretty much another world to me. I absolutely hate them pretty much, but I'm not dissing anyone who doesn't like them now. As I say, I've been collecting since, I have over 1,000 games in my collection. That's pretty much a bit of a brag-a-thon, you can say, but I don't want to, I collect games. I'm not a hardcore collector now, like Pete Dorn and like now, but I just enjoy collecting games and playing them, just having a good time. But you'll get to know a little more about us, though, as our journey continues into this podcast. So that's all then let's get into gaming news. So the first thing I want to talk about is, of course, a big retail chain here in terms of like UK gaming now, and that is Game. Now, Liam, do you shop at Game at all?
I do. I shop in both Game and Game Station, as they are both owned by the same company, I believe. Is that right, Darren?
Yes, it's Game Group, I believe the whole brand thing is now. Now, as you may know, for the last few weeks now, like pretty much it's kind of the big news over here in terms of the gaming industry is that the game's in a bit of a, let's say, financial woes, and that the fact of the matter is that, pretty much haven't stocked certain games, especially Mass Effect 3, which is pretty much was the, big killer app that's been released this month, and it's pretty much going down the shitter. Like, it all started with, the last story, they weren't stocking it, and then they said they're not going to stock any more games, EA games after, SSX and the like now, and what are your thoughts on this?
Well, really, coming from a person that, other than shopping on eBay for games, and I know there's going to be a lot of eBay schmucks out there saying, you've got to support your local businesses by going out and buying copies of games from local shops. Game and Game Station have been like my go-to shops whenever I've been into Plymouth. A lot of people probably know Plymouth if they're from the UK. And really, looking at it from my perspective, a lot of people give Game and Game Station grief about, oh, they didn't stock this and they didn't stock that. But really, personally, I feel that there's going to be reportedly 10,000 people that are losing their jobs.
Yeah, it's always a shame though when people lose their jobs. So in any sort of company, where it's Game Station, or just pretty much anywhere else now, and like if that is the case, what eventually may be though in the next coming months, I just feel sorry for them indeed. A lot of people out there I know absolutely detest Game. They just feel that their game prices are just way overpriced though, and they just hate like their used stock and things like that. Nice, but I don't really have a huge problem. I have one locally, a couple of miles away from where I live, and it's pretty much it's pretty much my go-to shop as well though.
But I mean, looking at it this way, we have both Game and Game Station within like a 200-yard radius. And you go into Game Station, and you can tell they are hardcore gamers. They'll stand there and they'll talk to you about games if they're not doing anything, or because you've got shop floor people which will advise you which games to buy and help you out on whatever you need. So whenever you're talking to one of them, it's really nice to go in there. But when I went in there yesterday, the 12th, when I went into Game, I should say, it was bare. I mean, the people behind the counter were talking about how they would go into CEX with that because they already get money off, because of the sale. And when they went, they get staff discount. So they were bragging about how much they got whenever they took all the stuff that they had gotten from Game into CEX, which is Cash Exchange.
Yes, we have one right here as well. Just opened up here not too long ago. It's pretty much in the same shopping centre as Game is.
Yeah. And one of the guys was bragging about how he trebled his original input money, which was about £60, on all the games he had bought from Game. And really, that is really disheartening about, those were more enjoy basically ripping the carcass of what is left of Game and, just using it for their personal gain. It's just wrong.
Yeah, I agree. And definitely though, as I said, I actually was just in Game this today there, and I got a bunch of games, so I did pretty much spent about 50 odd pound though, and a bunch of games are pre-owned and that there, so they were, because some of them have gone down in price, so
Yeah.
their pre-owned stock was down in price. I got TheDonovanViper Resurrection. It was price tagged at $19.99 originally. I got it for £2.98.
Yeah. Speaking of TheDonovanViper, I must commend the creators of that game. I know we're going on a side tangent, but I really do enjoy that game.
Yeah, I know a few people actually on Twitter I follow though. Aerodynamics Mike, who's from the Netherlands, really loves his cave shooters.
Yeah.
So he does. And I played Death Smiles last year. Now I rented it, and I really enjoyed it. And this might as well, I actually bought it as well for £5 it was, and I just decided to get the TheDonovanViper because I just heard good things about it.
Cool. Now let's get back to the game woes.
Yeah, the game was indeed. As I said, I don't know what's going to be in store for game now. As I said, a lot of people hate them.
Yeah.
They don't shop there because they rather, use online. Though, like I pretty much just buy stuff online, like new releases and that. There, I very rarely get a new release in store now. If it's a game I really want to get like day one, I pretty much just pre-order online because I usually get it the day before it actually hits stores. And I don't know if you actually use it now, but do you use Shop2 at all?
That's where I ordered Dark Souls from.
Right, that's correct. Yeah, I actually ordered it there as well. So I did both for both versions. I got the limited edition on the PS3 when it came out, and I also got the 360 version for about £7 because it was on like sale
Yeah.
and I like used discount as well. But as I said, like games like I would hate to see it go, to tell you the truth, because for a lot of people it's really the only gaming like go to they have. Like there's some areas pretty much where you have game. There's like some people have game station game, which are pretty much the same thing. Over here, we have GameStop as well, which of course is for international listeners, is pretty much the mecca of gaming retail chains, especially in North America, where people pretty much detest them, and you can hear all sorts of bad stories about GameStop in America, especially now. But from my experiences here, never had much problems with them whatsoever. I don't know. I don't think there's GameStop in England now, is there?
Not that I'm aware of. Well, there's none down this end where I live. There may be some in London, but not down this far.
I know there's actually like a GameStop UK site now though, but in terms of like actual, ones in England now, I'm not entirely sure now. That's pretty much all. You can look it up though anywhere, wherever you go. Game pretty much is in a shitter and stopped stocking certain games though. It's kind of funny as well is that they didn't stock Mass Effect 3, but behind the counter there, I actually seen the Mass Effect 3 guide. I actually don't know if they were actually selling it or not. I don't think they were because I didn't see any other copies of it. Now, I'm going to go on and things other news as well, and that the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of people kind of bitching about a certain game's ending, and that is Mass Effect 3. Now, I'm sure Liam has been saying it on Twitter and like certain like forums perhaps as well, that a lot of people are not happy with the ending of that game, are they?
No, there seems to be an uproar in the camp of Mass Effect fanboys that they want to keep the original ending, and some people that want to change it.
Yeah, like I can understand people hating on an ending now, but for people to petition to BioWare saying, get this ending changed now, I fucking hated it. Of course, there's going to be explicit language here, folks. Deal with it. If you're not a fan of that, then this is the wrong podcast for you. But there seem to be whiny bitches, so it's like, oh, this game ending sucks. We want it changed. We want to petition it, and I don't get it whatsoever. Like, I'm planning at the moment. I'll talk about it more about when we are, playing our games. But the fact of the matter is, people are really annoyed about it. Have you played the Mass Effect games at all?
I haven't. With games that are out in like a franchise or a trilogy or something that kind of has a sequel, I tend to enjoy playing them more when I own them all, and then like move into, or I complete the first one, I can jump straight into the second one.
Yeah, I can understand that, so I can.
I've done that with Dead Space. I've just picked up Dead Space 2, and this weekend I'm planning to sit down and play Dead Space 1 and 2. So I know all people are different when it comes to games. Some people like to play the first one and, get it out there and get it completed. But me, I have a really bad memory. So one time I'll play the first one, and then I'll get around to playing the second one, and then I'll think, oh, I didn't realise that happened in one. But then I'll go back and play one, and then realise it did happen. So
Yeah, I actually haven't finished Dead Space 2. I actually played the first one around the time it came out and I absolutely loved it though. And I was really looking forward to Dead Space 2 last year. I got it when it came out and I barely finished it. I haven't even finished it at all, and it's one of those games that I really need to get back into playing.
Well, hopefully this weekend, Darro, we can talk more about it next week when we talk about games we've been playing recently.
Of course, yes. So anyway, back to this Mass Effect 3 now. Like I said, you probably will get it eventually, all three of them eventually now anyway, but like I've been planning at the moment, so I don't know. But also, I know that Nostalgia King, who was on the another podcast that I've been enjoying recently, and I know you have as well, and that is the Radical Rascals podcast with Broland, Ben, and Andy, and he finished it, and he wasn't happy with the ending as well. So I'm very much interested and intrigued to see what the whole fuss is about now, and see. I have an idea of what it may be, but you may never know.
Yeah.
And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what the actual ending is and see where I disagree or agree with the whole, bitchiness. But I could say I can understand hating endings. Like I played Dead Rising when it came out. I got the true ending, and the true ending is just basically text. And it's like I played all that for a bunch of text.
Mm.
Like, that's just ridiculous. And I'm sure you probably play games that you probably hate the ending as well.
I did. The main one that I played, which really sticks out into my mind, is, again, a Legend of Zelda title. And it was the Minish Cap. Because to me, it just went on a whole, like, because this was before the time that I had actually played, because this was before the time of the timeline and things like that, and once again, timeline, some people like it, some people hate it. It's just one of those things that it's just silly how some gamers, not all gamers, passionate gamers go on about the ending of video games, but I don't know, it's a touchy subject, isn't it?
Yeah, also, a lot of people weren't happy with the whole Final Fantasy 13-2 ending now as well. It's like, kind of ends like at a bit of a cliffhanger. I personally really liked it because it's like, I didn't expect it. Like, it's like, oh, this is interesting. The fact of the matter is, it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, there's going to be another Final Fantasy 13 game, or is there going to be DLC?
Yeah.
But I personally am really looking forward to see what happens, and hopefully it's great.
The Mass Effect, I don't know whether it's a publisher, but the publisher is EA, or
EA, yes, EA published it.
Now, with the whole EA cash cow at the minute, with the online passes of pre-owned games or anything, I can actually see EA re-releasing Mass Effect 3, but with the ending that everybody would like, because EA are that sort of company. Now,
I don't know if that will happen now, but though I know some people would probably say, yeah, great, that's great, but some people, but it's like, what, you just basically got, forced to change this ending that not a lot of people liked. I don't know, I just don't get it whatsoever.
No. But then again, we're all different gamers when it comes to that niche, aren't we?
Yes, exactly, now. So, as I said, I'm playing Mass Effect 3 at the moment. I'll talk a bit more about it in just a few moments now. Is there any other gaming news that you want to talk about?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't usually check out gaming news, I must admit, which I will need to, because I'm a bit unprepared for this episode of the podcast. But next week I'll be coming back brimming with info and news that I've read. So if you've got any more, Darren, fire away.
Yeah, that's just fine. No, the fact of it is, it's like it's our first episode now, and like, of course, we'll have to look at certain gaming news, but not like every single gaming news out there now. Just pretty much stuff that that we can talk about that interests us now. The last one I could just really talk about is it's kind of a bit old news now, but the whole Assassin's Creed 3 was kind of announced like last week or so.
Yes.
Have you played the Assassin's Creed series?
I have. I'm up to the Brotherhood game, and
Now,
I do.
Sorry to disrupt. Are you one of those ones who liked the first one or not?
To be honest, I've enjoyed every single one that I've played. There's something about, some people will go, oh, it's a collecting game, you got to go around collect feathers and maps and things like that. But I really, really enjoy doing that, and some people can call me wacky for saying that, but when a game comes down to running around and, side quests, I love my side quests, so...
Yeah, like I wasn't a big fan of the first one. I didn't finish it though. I thought it was just really repetitive. It was like pretty much, I think all the cities in it looked the same, pretty much. But I got the second one, loved it, played Brotherhood, finished it, really liked it as well. I haven't actually played Revelations yet now. I actually have it though, but I'll have to like, play it and, get the whole story before, 3 hits
Yeah.
this October. Now, the ending, the Brotherhood's kind of interesting indeed. I'm not going to spoil it for you though. Like whenever you get around to playing it, it's quite interesting. If you thought this ending to 2 was a bit weird, this one is even weirder. Let's just put it at that though. It's just kind of, okay, that's a bit fucked up.
Yeah.
But let's say Assassin's Creed 3 was announced, and it's going to be announced, it's going to be in Colonial America, which is actually quite cool because you don't see a whole lot of games now in like this setting now. Usually it's like World War II or modern day or something now, but it's quite cool to see it in a like different setting now.
Yeah. It'll be very interesting to see how they what's the word I'm looking for? They managed to put in parkour or free running into that era, because that will be really, really interesting. Because I did see some screenshots, and I do believe that he had, or the lead character, I say the lead character, I haven't looked into this and I don't know.
I think it's Connor though, but he has like a Native American name. I don't know what it is though, but like the main character's name's like Connor.
So Connor, it'll be interesting to see what sort of weapons he has, because will they go down the route of the dagger down the sleeve, or the sword down the sleeve, and things like that. Will we have a bow and arrow this time? It leaves the video game series in general wide open for how they could attack this. As I've already said, I haven't seen any of the screenshots. I've only seen like the buildings that they posted on, is it IGN that I saw it, I believe?
Yeah, like probably IGN and things like that. But he actually does have a tomahawk though, which is pretty much a guarantee since it's set in that colonial times, and you're pretty much gonna get like tomahawks and the like.
Yeah. So it will be interesting to see how they work it out in the end.
Yeah, exactly though. Like I'm a fan of the series anyway. Like I said, I wasn't fussing the first one. A lot of people felt the same way. They felt it was a bit too repetitive, boring, but then it picked up in 2 and like pretty much got like good with 2 Brotherhood. And I know Revelations, I don't think it's kind of a mixed bag as well though. So anyway, that's pretty much all for news though. We'll probably look around for next week's episode and like get more information and see what interests us, what doesn't, and things like that. So anyway, we're going into games that we've been playing now. So Liam, go ahead.
Recently, if some of you are subscribed to me on YouTube, you'll notice that I've picked up a hefty NES games bundle. And in those games bundle, I picked up Bugs Bunny's Birthday Blowout, which I'm absolutely loving. It's a really, really nice platformer starring Bugs Bunny, and all of the other Warner Brothers characters which are around Bugs Bunny. I can't think of the word then, but involved with the series of the TV program and whatnot. They wonder why Bugs Bunny gets a birthday party, and nobody else does. So,
because he's fucking Bugs Bunny, that's why.
So all of the characters, other than Bugs Bunny, join forces and try and take Bugs Bunny out so he doesn't attend his birthday party. Now, at the end of every level, you have to collect like an oversized carrot, which I found was really, really funny. So you're there, you're catching your carrots and all that, and at the end of the level, I think there's 4 levels to each, so you go 1-4, and then you face the enemy. I've only got up to 2-4 because each time I keep dying, but it's really, really fun. Even though the game was set in I think it's the 80s, I think it was released in 88, the game is just so ridiculously funny. I mean, if you can watch a few clips on YouTube of the game on the NES, I do believe Angry Video Game Nerd
Yes, he did a video review of it, so that's pretty much where I saw it from, and I know it pretty much for him shitting on Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. Even though that
Brilliant.
episode was hilarious, I must admit, some people like platformers to the extreme, but looking at it now that I've actually played it, because I thought, because a lot of AVGN's videos are all like putting down games, and there was one game that I must admit that I did play that he did a review of, and that was Godzilla. Now, Godzilla absolutely sucks monkey balls. The whole strategic system of, I think I chose Godzilla and Mothra. It took me like 4 turns on that board to figure out what I was doing. I mean, now, he is right with that, and I played about 20 minutes of that, and I'm still surprised that it's staying in one piece, the cartridges, so. But going back to Bugs Bunny, have you played it, Darrow?
No, I haven't played it at all, though, so I haven't. I just know it from the AVGN episode that he did of it. That's pretty much that's pretty much my knowledge of that game.
So if you do own an NES, listeners and my co-host Darren over there, if you do own an NES, I do suggest that you pick it up, because it isn't half as bad as James made it out to be. So that is one of the games that I've been playing. Another game on the NES that I have been playing is the New Zealand Story. Have you played that, Darren?
I vaguely remember playing it. I don't know if it was on the NES now, but I do vaguely remember playing that like years ago and during the 90s.
Yeah. This game, another platformer, but this time you are the lead character, and it's some sort of bird. I don't know if it's a kiwi bird or something.
I think it's a kiwi now.
Because we all know that the nickname of New Zealand is the Kiwis, so whether they've stuck down that route. And really, that is a really nice platformer. You are the lead Kiwi, or the lead bird. There's somebody that's gonna correct me in the comments section, isn't there, Darren?
Perhaps, yeah.
So I'll just call it this bird. So you take charge of this bird, and basically at the end of every level, you are meeting up with another bird, the same bird, and each level is kind of like an area of New Zealand itself. And it's a great game if you want to mark up your geography, so you know the length and the depth of New Zealand itself. But the game itself is really, really nice.
Don't you mean Middle Earth? Yeah, this is basically New Zealand, Middle Earth, yeah, Lord of the Rings, yeah.
I get you now. I had a little bit of a brain fart then. I wonder why you said Middle Earth. So that was what my pause was for. What else have I been playing? Mega Man 2.
Classic.
Now, I had real problems. I managed to defeat Woodman, is it?
Yeah, I think it's Woodman now. I'm not affiliated with like the whole Mega Man, like I'm not a huge fan of the Mega Man series now, but I do enjoy playing them.
This is, in fact, the first Mega Man game that I've ever actually played. So jumping into it and defeating Woodman, it was kind of a sense of accomplishment, because I've heard so many different stories about how difficult Mega Man is and how experienced of a game you have to play. But, just doing that first level, I thought, damn, that was fun.
Yeah, it's a pretty difficult series overall now. Like I have the Mega Man Anniversary Collection on the GameCube. That it's a US version of it, because for some reason it was never released here, which sucked. But yeah, they're hard games, so they are. And the good thing about the second one as opposed to the first is the second one I think it's a password system, so it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one, you pretty much had to play through that game in one sitting, because there was no save value, there was no password. You had to pretty much tolerate that game and pretty much had to do it in one sitting, or you were screwed.
Bloody hell, that is a challenge and a half, because I couldn't even get past Heatman stage on Mega Man 2, so if they did implement the same that they did in the original Mega Man, then I would be royally screwed.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that's the but like to say the first, I remember playing the original and the second one back in the day though, I actually don't have the original cartridges now. I just have the one on the Mega Man Anniversary Collection now. But they're great games, and I know there are a lot of people out there absolutely love them.
Yeah. Well, we can all look in Rob Man's direction for that now, can't we?
Yes, exactly.
Other games that I've been playing, I did manage to pick up a Link's Awakening DX copy. So I've been revisiting that. Now I own the Player's Choice version, the original version released in the PAL region, and now I own the DX version. So call me a whore of The Legend of Zelda, but you'll understand why that I collect all of these different games. Revisiting that, it is a really, really enjoyable game.
I only got it recently there on, the actual 3DS shop now, and it's pretty much like the first time I ever played it, because I think I might have played it for like a couple of minutes, like around the time it came out though, but I played the first dungeon there a while back, and yes, it's a great Zelda game.
I must admit, Tail Cave is one of my favourite Zelda dungeons. So, trying to think what else I've been playing. I haven't been playing any PS2 games recently. Xbox 360 games. I have been divulging in Earth Defense Force Insect Armageddon again. Really, that's just me leveling up now. But if you are listening and you don't own Earth Defense Force Insect Armageddon or 2017, I do suggest that you pick it up. Now, I won't spoil the whole storyline for you there, because it is a really, really impressive game, and you can pick it up as cheap as £7, I believe it is, for Insect Armageddon, and it would be really nice for more people to play with. So,
well, we could play it together if you wish, because I actually do have the Insect Armageddon, and I've barely played it whatsoever.
That is good. So, no doubt after this podcast, later on this evening, we will be playing Insect Armageddon.
Exactly.
But it is one of those underrated gems. People who are subscribed to my YouTube channel, yes, I'm going to plug the hell out of that, so apologies for that. But I did do like a mini review and gameplay of it, and the people that saw that, because the main person that I've been playing with is Adam Agro of Red South City. Have you heard of that channel, Darren?
I can say I haven't.
Okay, so that's a channel for you all to check out if you haven't checked it out before. No doubt Darro will tell you some of his favourite YouTubers that he's been playing with during the past week or week and a half.
That's going to be hard now, because I barely play with a lot of YouTube people now. It's kind of ones. I'll get to it, no problem, when I'm talking about my games anyway.
Okay. And really, Insect Armageddon, I've completed it on normal, hard, and Inferno. Now, Inferno was really, really fun. The enemies that come at you are ridiculous. You'll probably breeze past the normal difficulty when you're about level 5. So, if you do play it and you can't get past the first couple of levels, do not get disheartened. You just have to level up a bit, and then you'll be there. But since I've been playing with Adam Agro of Red South City, we have almost completed the whole entire game.
How many missions is in the game?
There are 5. It's like 1-1, 1-2, 1-3. So you got 1-5 to 3-5.
So about 15 overall then, is it?
Yeah. And then the online features is you've got a survival mode, where you basically go and you try and complete rounds of the survival mode with either by yourself or with different people throughout the Xbox Live or PlayStation Network area. And really, it is an overall fun game. I must admit, people doubted me, saying, "Oh, you'll never complete that." Speaking of the people that we've already talked about, Andy of Red Rascals did actually say, "Oh, you'd never be able to complete that, in such a period of time or whatever." But really, all I've got to do now is leveling up. So 5 achievements away from completing it, and that'll be a massive, massive achievement. Because I have put in, now I'd like to have a little guess, Darro. Have a guess how many hours, according to Raptor, I have put into this game.
I'll say probably around the three-digit number, around 100 odd hours.
Very close. I have put in 98 hours.
Oh.
Now
Yes, that's a lot indeed.
you're probably thinking, Skyrim. Most people play Skyrim for like 100, 110 hours. Now, for a game where you've got to go around collecting weapons and doing missions and things, a lot of people will probably have got bored around the 40 or 50 hour so mark. But I'm soldiering through, 98 hours in. So when I finally complete that, I'm going to have like a whole new video on my YouTube channel, like a little party with cake and banners and everything.
Yeah, and just have insects come around and just
Dance.
celebrate.
Yeah. So that basically sums up what I've been playing. There is a final game that I've been playing, but we've both been playing that, so I'll leave you to talk through that game when you come round to, and I'll put my input into it when the time comes. So take yours away, Darro.
Okay, thank you. Well, the main game that I've been playing over the last several days has been, of course, Mass Effect 3, because everyone and their granny and everyone in the entire Western Hemisphere who's into that game will be playing it at the moment. And like we covered before, not a lot of people are happy with the ending. Now, I haven't really put a whole lot of time into it now because, I was working throughout the weekend. I work night shift, so that's kind of fucks up my sleep sometimes, but I'm used to it now. I'm probably about 6-7 hours into the main story now, and I've just done the mission on a place called Palaven, so still pretty early into the game now. If you're a fan of Mass Effect, if you really enjoyed the games, you're pretty much going to enjoy this here. Still has the great, action, still has the great, characters, great voice acting, just sort of great graphics for the most part now. But I've been playing the multiplayer over the weekend with a few old friends that I had back from GameSpot now. Have you ever visited Have you ever used GameSpot whatsoever?
I haven't, no. So if they do come over and take over Game and Game Station, it will be the first time that I've ever bought or visited a games.
GameSpot, not GameStop.
Okay. Damn it. We've been doing so well. I haven't, mate. I'm sorry. That kind of flailed the whole thing then.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, GameSpot though, like I'm not really an active member anymore now. It's pretty much was back in like 2006, 2007 where pretty much I was really active, and that's kind of where I started doing video blogs and the like. As I said, I played the multiplayer. I played a bit of the demo of it now, and I thought I was not going to really get into it though, but the multiplayer in it's actually very enjoyable. Now, if you played like, Gears of War and games like that, now you pretty much know what you're getting here, because of the fact of the matter is it's pretty much bunch of players. You just fight waves of enemies. You either fight, the Cerberus, there's pretty much like an enemy in the game, or the Geth, which were kind of like the main enemy in the first game, and the Reapers, which are pretty much the antagonists in this game. And you pretty much play in a bunch of maps. You only fight 11 waves now, but it is really enjoyable. You can pick like different classes now. You can pick, Soldier. You can pick Vanguard, Sentinel, and things like that now. And playing Soldier is probably going to be not as fun though, because you're just like, ammo and things like that now. But when you're like, playing as like, Vanguard, using the biotic powers, it's very enjoyable indeed. So I really recommend, playing the multiplayer though. And the thing is, is that it ties to the whole galactic readiness, in that in the single player there's this war like map, and there's different parts of the galaxy, and they're at a percentage now, whereas are you ready to basically face the Reapers? Are you like 100% or whatnot? And every time you do a mission in the multiplayer, you're pretty much, get more percentage for each of the sectors, and therefore You can basically play a lot of the multiplayer and you're pretty much at 100% without probably even touching the single player. You're pretty much ready though. But like, of course, you can't like go, oh, I'm ready to face the Reapers now. I'm not even stocked up in, like soldiers and things like that now. I can't do that now. But like, if you want to sort of, dope out, a lot of the side quests and things like that, pretty much multiplayer is kind of one big side quest you could do to, improve that at the end of the day. Now, as I said, a lot of the people didn't like the ending. I'm very much looking forward to seeing that, what it is. But that's pretty much all I've been playing for Mass Effect 3 now. I'll be probably playing more of it later now. Another game that I've been playing is Shadow of the Colossus PS3 HD version now. Now, have you played it whatsoever?
I haven't. That's another uncovered gem that has unfortunately been out of my price range, but I'll certainly look into picking it up.
Yeah, I actually bought the copy I have from Andy of Radical Rascals, so I did. He was selling a bunch of games to, pay for his wedding pretty much, and I bought it along with a few other games. Now, actually, it was him also last year, like the Gentleman's Challenge, we were teamed up together. He gave me the challenge of playing that game and finishing it for the PS2 now. And I actually gave him Okami, and he actually didn't finish Okami. I didn't finish Shadows of the Colossus, mainly because the fact is, I don't know if I was the only one that experienced this, but there was some sort of bug where before you face the second Colossus, when you're going down this hill, the game kind of hangs, and you can't move, you can't do anything, and then eventually just freezes, and that pretty much screwed up my progress. But I've been playing it on the PS3. It looks just basically, if you thought it would look good on the PS2 though, get the PS3 version. It just looks really, really lovely on HD on the PS3. I've progressed on to the 10th Colossus now, which is pretty much the first I actually ever gotten in a game, because I did pay in the PS2, so I did actually got to the 8th Colossus before. And I think this is before I rented it and didn't actually buy it now. But it's a very good game. Not a lot of people really love it. As I say, it's just basically a lot of people think, why is this so great? Because all you do is go around on your horse and fight basically a bunch of bosses at the end of the day. But it is really one of those games that you basically check out. I think you can get it pretty cheap now on, I don't know, but I think it's probably cheap now, perhaps, for the Eco Shadow of the Colossus collection. I bought it for £15, which is probably cheaper than what I would pay for it in the shop, so I'm happy with that. But it's a great game indeed. And finally, we're going to talk a bit of length here about a game that I got back into because I bought it on the 360 to play it with a few friends, because there has been a challenge going around, apparently, between Liam and a few others in that they want to finish, Dark Souls by the end of the year. But Liam said, fuck finishing it. I actually want to basically full 1,000 points on it. And I like to see that happen.
It will be a struggle, I'll tell you that now. I'm 2 hours into it and I've died about 20 times already, so...
Yes, Dark Souls, I absolutely love that game. I can talk for the next 2 hours on why I love that game, but I'm not going to because you'd basically be bored to death afterwards. But I played it on the PS3, the limited edition. I put about 77 hours into it, finished it when I finished my first playthrough. And then I've actually been playing it on New Game Plus as well, and I've got to the Four Kings, which, let's just say, Liam, if you think it's hard now, trust me, it gets a lot harder.
Oh, goody.
It gets a lot harder. It's like, if you think, Undead Burg, you think Undead Burg, Undead Parish, those starting areas is a paradise compared to what it becomes. So it does. There's one area in the game that you will probably, if you get that far, you will absolutely hate with all of your might.
I can't
Yeah,
believe
but
you guys talked me into buying it now after hearing all the horror stories, Makes me want to just stick it on eBay, but I will soldier through it.
no, like as I said, I've been playing on the the 360 version now. I created a new class, which was the Pyromancer class. I was like a knight in my PS3 playthrough, so I was, and I chose the Pyromancer, and I've been doing pretty good. I'm actually just in Blighttown now, but the thing is, I actually want to play co-op with a guy who pretty much loves that game to death, as pretty much near as much as actually more than I do, because it was his favorite game of last year. And he's actually doing a playthrough of it at the moment. So Liam, if you're actually interested in looking at someone who actually has played the game, check out a channel called MC Avenged, and he's actually been doing a playthrough of it at the moment, and you can see how hard that game does. You may think, oh, he makes it look so easy, though. Trust me, because he's played it like a good number of times, so he's chosen picked like different various characters, classes, and that there, and he bloody loves that game at the end of the day.
So how far have you progressed through currently? Talk me through how far you've got through in your 360 version.
I'm in Blighttown, which is pretty much pretty much the second area in the game, because you're like Undead Burg. You start off at like after you've left like the starting area, which is the asylum.
Yep.
And then there's Undead Parish, which is just pretty much a little further on, and I'm in Blighttown now, which is pretty much frame rate city, because the frame rate takes a big dive in that area, and it's pretty much the worst part in the game in terms of that now.
Okay. So I've got Blighttown and Undead Parish to look forward to, as I've only on Undead Burge at the minute. I originally started off with a knight, I must admit, and with a knight I got absolutely nowhere. I didn't know what I was doing, I didn't know how to do so-and-so, the tutorial just went completely over my head. So then I thought, right, 5 hours with a knight and I'm getting nowhere. Screw this, I'm going to choose to be a pyromancer. So now I'm a level 17 pyromancer, and I've got the furthest as I have ever got so far.
Where exactly are you now?
Do you remember in the Undead Burg that you go under the bridge, you slice up a few rats, and you go up a ladder?
Yes.
Then you kill this like undead hollow man with a shield, and he comes out. He's like, "Bruh, I'm gonna kill you now." He's like, "Ha, I killed you instead." And then you've got like this. Is it a metal hog or a metal pig or something?
Metal, like a steel boar.
Yeah.
Yes, I know exactly where you're at.
Now I am just past that bit. I managed to walk down the stairs. And basically, I got ripped a new one when I was fighting the huge knight soldier thing.
Yeah, the Black Knight, yeah. Stay away from them until you level up a bit more.
So that's how far I've got.
Yeah, you have a long ways to go yet, though, but as I said, it takes time now. Like, I pretty much got my ass whooped when I played through it in my PS3 playthrough on, the other night as well, and I persevered because I wasn't going to stop now and just say, oh screw this, I put so many hours into it and I wasn't going to start a whole new playthrough now. And I did persevere, but I did finish it. Now this game is not for everyone now. There is people out there that absolutely love it, like I myself.
Yep.
There's people that absolutely hate it, which you may end up hating it with all of your passion in that there. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But I know Ben and Andy and a few others have been basically got it recently and started playing as well, and they made it pretty much a gentleman's challenge, and that they want to finish it by the end of the year, like I mentioned before. And I'll just wait and see if that becomes in the main. But the thing is now, if you're ever in trouble, just hit me up in co-op. Now some people said, isn't it hard to do co-op? No, it's not. It was before the patches hit now, but the thing is now, if, say, I'm in Blighttown, I'm at the bonfire, and, if like you have the summon sign now, and if you're in like the same 10 levels now, say like I'm level 30, you're level 35, I can put down my summon sign somewhere near the bonfire. Pretty much for the most part now, you're going to see that sign, and you can summon me into your game, or I can summon you into my game, and pretty much you pretty much can go around and kill fools easily, and you get to the boss, and that's when it ends though, because once you defeat the boss, the phantom in your area, the one, like if you were summoned into the other guy's game, it goes. And if it wasn't, if you were in the other, if you are in your own game and he comes into your world, then he goes away as well, and he gets like, certain amount of souls, and he gets humanity as well. I actually didn't play much of co-op in my PS3 playthrough, but let's just say it is very enjoyable indeed when I'm playing through on my 360 playthrough. So if you ever need help though, whenever you get to like the same level, because I'm gonna wait until you're probably around my level and get to the same area, then we can help each other. I can help you with the game because I pretty much know what to expect from the game.
You could be waiting a fair long time then.
Yeah, I could be waiting till November, and it's like, I just got to Blighttown. Like, jeez, that took you a long ass time, didn't it?
Yeah. There is one thing I've got to ask you. Whenever I've been playing and I die and I, like replenish at the bonfire, there is kind of like a ghost kind of character.
That's other players, so it is, because sometimes you see other like little ghosts or phantoms walking around killing enemies. That's pretty much other players that you can see now. So it is.
I've always wondered, now you've told me, but I've always wondered what that was. I didn't know if it was, recording your previous life and how far you had gotten and things like that, but...
Now, like if you activate like a blood stain now, which pretty much if you go around and see a blood stain and touch it though, it pretty much just shows like another player's like last seconds before he gets killed. So he does, it's just pretty much, another character in that world though. So it is. So that's pretty much kind of what I've been playing. I just picked up Dawn of Apache Resurrection there like I did, and just played it for a bit before start recording this podcast. So it's good. I suck at it, but it's good. And that's pretty much all I have to talk about now. So anyway, now what we're going to do here is we're going to have little wee features here. I'm going to have my own little feature, and Liam's going to have his own little feature here. So I'm going to go last and let Liam go with his feature. I believe it's, what are you going to call this feature, Liam?
I will call this the DonovanViper's achievement segment. So when it comes back to trying to pronounce that again, it's going to be shits and giggles. Achievement segment. There we go. So basically, some of you, once again, yes, I am plugging the hell out of my channel.
Just keep on plugging, baby. Keep on plugging.
So, some of you on my channel, there will be a video if you're watching this before on my channel promoting this podcast. But for all of you new people that aren't subscribed to me on YouTube, I do a little thing called Monthly Achievement Update. As some people in the gaming universe of the 360-verse, I'll call them, there's some people absolutely love their achievements. Some people go through and enter competitions to kind of like collect the most achievements, and basically they win prizes. It's kind of called an Achievement Gamerscore League. Now, I'm a bit late to the party here, but I noticed on YouTube that nobody that I saw was doing like achievement related videos, like collecting achievements throughout the month and explaining on how they got them and how many they had amassed over the month. So I thought, right, I'm jumping on this. Now, it's only been going since January, so I'm only 3 months in, but so far I've amassed something like 7,000 gamer score since I've been doing the videos.
Yep, you're an achievement whore, aren't you?
I am. And really, it drives you, because if you collect Xbox 360 games, mainly for achievements like I do collect other games, it's just not 360, so don't worry there. and just sitting back and, enjoying the game, because a lot of achievement whores just play them, A to B, complete them, and don't enjoy them at all. So I'll sit down, I'll play anything and everything. Recently, I've been getting a lot of stick because I've been playing Hannah Montana.
Yes, I can. Yes, this is basically going to be a bit of a running gag now, apparently, on the Radical Rascals podcast, because every time they mention your name, they always have to mention Hannah Montana.
Just for their podcast, I'm thinking about changing my name to Hannah Montana.
Yes.
So
It's the best of both worlds.
it is. That was bad, dude. That was bad. But yeah,
I'm not a secret closet Hannah Montana fan. I just know that's the theme song. It's not like, oh, I just absolutely love everything about that show.
Oh, come on,
just
dude. You know all the words to the theme song. Don't lie.
Yeah, sure do.
But anyway, yeah, as I said, I'll play anything and everything. I do like the challenge, and I do like easy games. So Dark Souls and Earth Defense Force, those games have been recorded on how far I've gotten, and some people who are subscribed to me on YouTube do or have signed up for trueachievements.com. Now, whether or not you are a true achievement whore, or whether you're just a casual gamer, it records how many achievements that you've unlocked during each day, which game or whatever. So even if you are a casual gamer, it's nice to see how far you've progressed throughout the week. But anyway, going back to what I've been doing, I started in January because my goal, I started doing a mini-series last year about vlogs and getting to 100,000 game score, but really I had no passion or anything to do that. But now, since I've been doing this, it's really put me into like a mind frame of getting to 100,000 and beyond. Because games that I haven't already played before, I mean, like, if it wasn't for the mini-series that I'm doing, I would have never touched games like Dodonpachi, Death Smiles, no games like that, because they would have basically slipped under my radar. But if you're interested in achievements, or if you're not interested in achievements, well, I'm bound to say it's a good series. But have you seen it, Darro, or?
No, I haven't, but I'm sure to check it out. I actually used to be kind of a achievement whore back in the day when it was like all the craze now, but for like over the last several years now, I kind of just like don't care really about it anymore. Like I've had my 360 for 6 years this in like next week or so, and I haven't even hit 100,000 yet.
I'm about the same area time-wise, but as I've said, doing this mini-series has really put me in the mind frame, because 3 or 4 weeks ago, I thought, because I would have said that I was playing Fable 2 with Ben Saturn. Do you know Ben Saturn?
Yes, I know he's actually a good friend. I chat to him a lot on YouTube and Twitter.
Back when he was going through his surgery, I can't remember off the top of my head what it was, we said that we'd sit down and we'd play Fable 2 for a couple of hours. And after playing it for a couple of hours with him, I absolutely loved it. So I went out of my way to actually complete it, get everything, all the achievements and everything. But I didn't realise about all the DLC and things. So I've got to go back to can't remember what it's called now. It's been a while since I played it, but you go on the boat and the boat takes you, and you have to go and calm down the weather stations and things.
Yes, I forget what the name of the DLC is, but yeah, I know what it is though. Anyway,
is it like Not Whole Island or something?
I think that's what it is now. I think there was 2 DLC piece of DLC for it now.
Yeah, one was See the Future, which basically helped you with all the co-op and everything, and had co-op achievements. I think the end of it was or see another hero do so.
Right.
And basically that would allow you into their game, and you could amass achievements from what they would do. So say that you were just starting out, you would become an adult, and say that they invited you into their game. you would then get the 50,000 renown achievement if they had already got it.
Yeah, that was one of the things about that game. It's like pretty much nearly every other achievement had do this task or see another hero do so.
Yeah. So I've been doing it ever since properly that I played that game, because during the same month the month before I did play Hannah Montana with the shades in the hair. You can go anywhere. So really, if you do enjoy achievements, I won't bore you this episode, but or this podcast. But next podcast, I'll come back at you with achievements that I've obtained. Because really, this segment was just a trial and error. If we get good feedback and people want to hear about achievements that I've unlocked and how much fun I had unlocking them, then sure, I'll go into more detail. But if people don't like it, then I'll just have to find a different segment to talk about.
Yes, that's exactly the thing is, yeah. As I said, I used to be achievement whore now, and hopefully a lot of people are interested in it, because I know there's probably still people out there still enjoy, getting their achievements for everything though. But as I said, I used to be a part of it. Did you play the infamous Avatar game where you can get 1,000 points for in 2 minutes?
I haven't. I am one of the few people that can, raise my head up high. I can say, yes, I've played and completed Hannah Montana, but I haven't touched the dire game known as Avatar.
Yes. This is not Avatar, the James Cameron Avatar. This is Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Nickelodeon show, which you can get 1,000 points in 2 minutes.
The little ninja dude that wears is he a monk or something?
I do not know, because I don't watch that series, but I heard good things about it actually.
Yeah. I've never seen the Nickelodeon show either, so maybe that's something that we should talk about next week.
I believe it's on Netflix, actually on Netflix streaming, so maybe I should check it out there and see what my thoughts are. I heard the movie is pretty dire.
Okay, so I'll be sure to check that out, because even though the game was dire, doesn't mean to say that everything else about it is dire. So, Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I think it's just, I don't know what the exact name of the game. I think it's just called Avatar: The Last Airbender, or it's just some sort of subtitle with it anyway. But you can pretty much get it and get 1,000 points in 2 minutes. I pretty much can say, I'm one of those ones who I'm ashamed to say that I did that, but I didn't buy the game. I rented it out from Love Film, and pretty much got it, played it, got the points, and then just shipped it on back.
I must admit, I have used a lot of rental services, games like NBA 2K6.
Yes, that's one of my earliest 1,000 point games, and it's pretty damn easy to get points as well.
I do remember it was 2008, New Year's Day. I had CSI. Can't remember which one it was. I think
it was the original, was it?
Yeah, probably the original. I had NHL 2K6 and I had NBA 2K6. So New Year's Day, my entertainment was that, and 7 hours of CSI, and then about combined 40 minutes of NBA and NHL 2K6. So that was a brilliant New Year's Day.
Now, did you get all the achievements in NHL?
I did.
I couldn't get the sort of penalty one. I actually forget exactly what you had to do, but I looked online, I looked in videos, and I couldn't for the life of me get that achievement. And my achievement score for that game stands at 750, because I could never get it. And this is of course, back in the day when I was a achievement whore, and just sucked achievement cocks, etc.
Sucked them dry.
Yeah.
But yeah, some people did have a lot of difficulty with that one, but I think it's score a penalty shot on All Pro. Is it something along those lines? It's worth 250, as we've already talked about anyway.
Yeah, I think it's you had to try. I was trying to get a penalty or something. Couldn't do it though. It was just I looked in videos online and I couldn't do it no matter how many times I tried, and I just said, "Oh, screw this." But NBA, on the other hand, easy as hell.
Just plug in your second controller and you're well away.
I actually didn't do that. No, I think I actually played it properly.
You've suffered way too much. You've suffered way too much.
Yeah, but I played games like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Open Season and games like that. So
Me
I think I
too.
suffered a lot. Yeah.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, is that the reshelled or the Turtles in Time?
It's the actual movie game, so it is.
What about the XBLA title? But
no, I haven't got all the points in it.
I think I've got to go through the last achievement for the XBLA title is where you've got to go through one life.
Oh, that'll be difficult indeed.
It is, but either way, it will get done because I never like to see an achievement left hanging.
Yeah, there's actually another game that I can say that I was really annoyed as well is Lost Odyssey. Now, have you played Lost Odyssey?
I haven't. I own it, but I haven't got round to playing it yet.
It actually probably feature in an upcoming episode of my feature, which I'll talk about in just a few minutes' time. I actually got all the achievements in that game before the DLC came out, except for one, and I was really annoyed with it. And it's this treasure trove achievement, and you pretty much had to open all the treasure chests in the entire game. Like there's certain ones in the world map, there's ones like hidden, things like that. I actually thought I had them all, but I didn't, and it's the only I got every single other achievement in that game except for that one. I've got all the DLC ones except for you have to defeat this boss, which is pretty much impossible unless you have the certain strategy.
Yeah.
But as I said, that was one I really just kind of got annoyed about though back in the day when I cared about achievements. But that is a game that I just can't recommend that game enough. I absolutely love that game.
So, Lost Odyssey, I'll make sure to play that, or some of it, for next week's games we've been playing. So I've literally written down a list of games that I'm going to be playing next week, just to talk about.
Yeah. I'll probably just still be playing some of the games I got though, like I talked about in this episode, but probably a few more as well. Because I got a bunch of games started in game. I got like Star Fox 64 3D. I got like Green Day Rock Band and some other games as well.
Cool. I basically, in the Plymouth game and Game Station, there was hardly anything, so all of my games that I picked up are either sports or singing games. The only one that I did pick up was The Godfather, which has really been eluding me. I've completed The Godfather 2 because, once again, it had nice and easy achievements. But the original Godfather on the 360 has always eluded me, so now I own it. I'm really looking forward to sitting down and playing that one.
Yeah, it's one of those actual games that doesn't have 1,000 points as well. Like, I don't know if you ever played Condemned, which I actually played it back in the day, and it's only 970 achievement points.
Yeah. Lord of the Rings Battle for Middle-earth 2 didn't have 4,000 as well, I believe.
Yes, I think we had like 800 or 700 or something like that as well.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, I didn't read the small print when it came to achievements for The Godfather, because I saw it, I picked it up and I bought it, and I left the shop. That was it. So, unfortunately, that game won't be 1K'd. So, it will be whatever it is.
I think it's 810.
Oh my. Okay, that's a lot less than I thought it was going to be, but hey ho.
I believe it. I think it is. I don't know. I don't think there's ever a DLC for that game now that added it on. I do not know. I think it was 810.
Cool. I'm taking a kind of feeling like I'll take it back up into game and say, right, I want a decent game with 1,000 characters. None of this 800 odd crap that you've been selling me before. But
yeah, but this is like pretty much every game nowadays has 1,000 and plus more with DLC.
Yes. That will probably be another topic of conversation next week. DLC, good or bad?
Yes, that would be a good discussion that we can have anyway. Well, if you're finished with your feature.
I certainly am. If you'd like to fire away with yours, Darren.
Right, this is a feature that I actually did. Now, no one that I know of now, except for very few, would know that I actually did a little video series back on GameSpot known as Darro's Delights, where I sort of chose some of my favorite games. Some people know some of the games, like they were quite popular games, and other ones were kind of like, underrated, like underlooked and things like that. And I'm pretty much going to bring it back in this audio format now, where I just talked about the game at length, like talked about what it was synopsis for it, why I loved it and things like that, and then I just showed some like gameplay footage. And I did it for like a lot of like probably about a couple of months now, and then just stopped doing it. And I try to bring it back every now and again, but I just failed miserably. Now, I'm going to start off now with a game that I very much adore. Pretty much actually a series that I very much adore. And that is a series on the Sega Dreamcast, and it was also on the Xbox. And that is a little series known as Shenmue. Now, have you ever played the Shenmue series?
I have only played the first one.
And are you one of those ones who love it or hate it?
I only actually put 2 or so hours into it, and we're talking about 99, 2000.
Right, so you haven't played in a very long time then.
I haven't, so whatever you talk about now, I'll be listening and probably go out and buy a Dreamcast at the end of the section, whatever you are calling it.
Yeah, Darro's Delights. Shenmue is a game that I very much adore. Now, for you who don't know what Shenmue is, Shenmue tells the story of Ryo Hazuki, who is this Japanese teenager pretty much. And at the start of the first game, his father, Iwao Hazuki, gets pretty much beaten the crap out of him by the antagonist known as Lan Di, who steals this mare known as the Dragon Mare. And pretty much shows that Ryo wants to go and pretty much track Lan Di down and avenge his father's death. And pretty much you go around this area known as Yokosuka in the first game, and there's these different areas, like there's Yamanose, Dobuita, and you can pretty much know that I love this game because I know the names of the areas and things like that. And you just go around talking to different people. You're in your fights. You fight some guys as well, basically who want to kick your ass. And you talk to people looking to unravel the mystery and figure out why Lan Di want to take the mare and things like that. Now, this is a game that's widely regarded as pretty much a very expensive game made back in its day because the whole project cost about $70 million, so it did. And it is one of those games that a lot of people either love if they've played through it or hate. I know a certain Johnny Millennium, Happy Console Gamer, very much loves the series as well, and I'm very much glad to say there is people out there that very much love it as much as I do. Now, some people really considered it to be boring as hell because all you did was go around these smallish areas, and you just talk to different people though. But if you're very much into your sort of kind of bit of narrative and kind of want to know what happens next, it's very interesting indeed. And I very much love the game to death. It has a fantastic musical soundtrack. The actual dub now is probably fondly remembered for being kind of bad because especially Ryo Hazuki's voice kind of seems lifeless because it sounds like this. Where can I find some sailors? It's just really kind of lifeless and monotonous though. But that's kind of the charm of the game at the end of the day. Now, this was one of those games that kind of brought QTEs in the forefront now because all know most games nowadays tend to have their QTEs. Actually, I just want to ask Liam before I go on, do you actually like QTEs or not?
QTEs, run by me what that is.
QTEs are known as quick time events, and basically what they are is whenever you're fighting something or whatnot, a little button prompt comes on screen, and you have to basically press it on time, or else you're gonna like fail. Like say that like this like an obstacle gets in the way and you're running, and like the A button comes up, you have to press A to jump over it, or else you're gonna like trip over it.
So we're talking kind of Tomb Raider Legends-ish then.
Yes, Tomb Raider Legend has it. God of War has it. Like whenever you see like when you're about to kill an enemy and see like the circle button above it when you can grapple, that pretty much that. Resident Evil 4 has it now. Ninja Gaiden, no sorry, Ninja Blade has it. And again, I was recently Azura's Wrath's pretty much renowned for it because it's pretty much another game. It's very heavily on the QTEs, so it is. And that is it's one of those games that sort of brought it into the forefront, and I really enjoyed the QTEs back in the day because it's just variety of them though. Like one time you get like these kids playing in the park, they kick a ball to you, you actually can have to press a button to catch it. There's other times when you're chasing guys and you have to press the buttons to sort of avoid obstacles, avoid people, or else you're gonna like lose them and you have to like start over again. And that's one of the charms of the game. Now, near the end of the game now, you actually get a job as a forklift driver down at the harbour. And every day you get up, you go to the thing and you do forklift. You take crates into the warehouse, and the more crates you get in the warehouse, the more money you get. Again, some people might find it boring, but that's not like the whole greatness about the game. It's just the whole story about it and sort of what happens and unravels between Rio and the characters you meet along the way, like Fuku-san, Ine-san, and like his kind of this is a friend, but kind of a little bit of a girlfriend, Nozomi, and just some of the different characters you meet along the way as well. Now, one of the things that I didn't like about the game is there is certain times that you actually have to wait for a certain event to happen. Like say I have to go to this area at 7 o'clock at the evening time, and pretty much you get up at like 8 or so and you have to wait until 7 o'clock. So you do. And that is the real annoyance, is that you have to run around, talk to people, you have to wait until 7 o'clock. And that's probably the one main thing that I can say to you, Liam, is that if you ever actually do go around to playing it at length, that's going to kind of annoy you, is that I have to wait ages for this event to happen, for the story to continue. But luckily, something to pass the time in it is arcade games.
Sweet. Sorry, carry on.
Is where you actually play old arcade classics. Like you actually play Space Harrier, you can actually play Hang On, and you can also, and there's a few other ones. You can actually play these little QTE games as well. There's like this boxing one where these little wee pads come up and you basically press the right button prompt, and it gets harder as you progress onwards. And that's pretty much the best time killer in that game whenever you go around, waiting for certain events to happen now. Now, the first game is quite small. Like there's only really 6 areas overall though. But Shenmue 2, on the other hand, takes place in Hong Kong, because at the end of the first game, as I said, I'm not going to trap, he basically goes to Hong Kong, and pretty much it's a lot bigger game, and that's pretty much my favourite of the two. And one of the good things about it as well is that whenever you have to wait for certain events to happen, you can go to it and it just says, do you want to pass the time? Do you want to skip the time? You can do so, and that's like, great, I can skip the time. But the thing is, I think there's only really one part in the game that you actually just have to do that, really, as opposed to like the first one where you pretty much have, plenty of them. Now, as I say, you're in Hong Kong, and it is a lot bigger than Yokosuka in the first game, in that you travel around these different quarters, and you play this game called Lucky Hit, where you pretty much you take this ball and you have to go down the little wee little doodads and try to get into the right marker. I think it's known as like pachinko perhaps, or something that's completely different. I could be completely wrong there. But the thing is, the good thing about this is a lot more to do, and there's more arcade stuff. There's like Afterburner in it. It is a bigger game, and it was one of those Dreamcast games as well that actually had multiple discs. In that you actually first game had 3 discs, and the second game had 4 discs. And I don't know if they'll ever make the Xbox Live Arcade. I very much would like to see it now, but I don't know. It did come out on the Xbox for North America because North America never got the Dreamcast version of Shenmue 2. And Shenmue 2 actually on the Dreamcast has the Japanese dub, which I was kind of startled by at first when I first played it. It's like, what the fuck? Why are these guys not speaking English? Why is this Japanese? And I was so stupid back then, in that I actually took my copy back to game and said, can you give me the right one when they're speaking English? Because I actually didn't know that was the actual dub that they had now, but like I'm much smarter now than I was back then when it came out in 2001. I was 16, yeah, I still act like a dumbass. But as I said now, it had the Japanese dub. The North American one only had the English dub, and it's just pretty much as hilariously bad as the first game had with the English dub. So it did. Shenmue is just one of those games that I can pretty much go on all day about. Now the second one, as I said, it's a lot better, a lot bigger. You go to several different areas. You go to Hong Kong. You go to this place called Kowloon, which I believe is sort of like a kind of a district of Hong Kong. And then you go to this place called Laguishan, which unfortunately is kind of my least favorite part in the game. It kind of ends because you really don't really do a lot in the end of the game, because you meet this certain character in it known as Shinhua, and all you do really is walk around this certain area and talk to her, and there's like, you know, certain QT events that happen along the way. And the main tragedy of this series is in that it ends in a cliffhanger pretty much, and it's been 11 years since that game was released for the Dreamcast, and we're never going to see the conclusion of it, and it's a damn shame because it is an absolutely magical series, and I can't recommend it enough because a lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it, say it's boring, say it's dull, but I just really enjoy that game, and I think it kind of probably was ahead of its time perhaps. It looked absolutely amazing back when it came out in 2000. I actually got it for Christmas along with Majora's Mask, which, and you can pretty much say which one I enjoyed more at the end of the day.
Yes.
Now, actually just before I finish here, what are your takes on Majora's Mask?
When I was younger, when it first came out in 2003, I believe.
It was 2000 it came out, Majora's Mask.
Well, 2003 was when I first played it. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And being a 13-year-old kid, playing it of an evening at about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, it absolutely scared the bejesus out of me. Now, I've only actually recently gone back to playing it. I own the box Nintendo 64 copy, but back in 2009, I bought the copy off of the Wii Virtual Console.
Right.
I completed it. It took me about 4 months to complete it, because it was the first time that I'd ventured back into it, but I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, that's unfortunately it's one of my least favorite Zeldas now. It's kind of one of those ones that a lot of people love it, and a lot of people are not fond of it though. The thing is, though, I actually really ever played it through once though, and I never picked it up since. But I don't really diss people for liking that game because it was just sort of a different format to the Zelda series, where you had this whole 72-hour business with the moon, and you can like reverse time and these certain events like get altered though. And you think I'd actually would enjoy that because I do like time travel stuff.
Yeah.
Like I love Back to the Future trilogy. I love Chrono Trigger. But for this, I enjoyed it. I think it's still a good game, but I'm not overly in love with it.
I must admit, it did take me about 3 weeks to fully appreciate and understand the whole time reversal aspect and the whole, first night on the first day or the second day and things like that. Because it is kind of good in its own ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like a lot of people do love, like I say, a lot of people do love it. Like it's kind of like you could say it's pretty much like a sequel to Ocarina of Time, and there is like this mask collecting business, so there is, and you actually can change into different like you can change into like wee Deku seed, you can change into Goron and things like that now. And the thing is, it only had 4 dungeons overall though, but it still probably was a pretty lengthy game at the end of the day, due to the whole 72-hour business, and the fact is it had pretty much a lot of side quests.
Yeah. I must admit, in Legend of Zelda games, I do enjoy the side quests, no matter how long or how short they are.
Right. So basically, in conclusion, as I said, back to Shenmue here, side tangent there. I could probably muddle up probably a few things as well, of course, but I really do enjoy that game at the end of the day, and I don't know exactly how much it goes for. Like I think it might still be a pretty expensive game to get online now. Like I actually had to buy another copy of Shenmue 2 because I gave mine away to a guy I like sort of had as a classmate pretty much back in college, and I never got it back, and I had to pay money to get another copy of it, unfortunately. But I have one now, and I'm happy to say that I do. I have like the first one, this one I got for Christmas. I got Shenmue 2 on the Dreamcast, and I've got the Xbox one, which I got with my Xbox. So anyway, that's pretty much all for Darro's Delights now.
Before we carry on, can I just throw something out there?
Go ahead.
You never know. Shenmue 2, you make a petition, they may change the ending. I'm sorry I had to do that.
Well, if that was the case, then I think it would have been done a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's not like a big really fuck you ending now. It's like it's not like that now. It's just like just kind of wish we can see the conclusion.
Yeah. Totally understand.
I know there's Shenmue Online, which is supposed to be this MMO, was in development there like several years back, but then it got cancelled. There's this whole Shenmue City sort of social networking thing that was in Japan or Korea that kind of was just for little wee spin-off things, which I think kind of gone down in the dumps as well. It's kind of in the dust. But we never know. I would personally love to see one, but I'm not holding any hopes because it's been 11 years and pretty much just say we're not getting it anytime soon.
And I must apologise for saying that. That was my poor attempt at trying to be funny. Obviously, it wasn't very funny, so...
Well, we'll just have to wait and see if people enjoy it at the end of the day, and if we can try to make it more humorous at the end, so we do. Well, finally now, just before we sort of leave, we're pretty much over we're near the 90-minute mark now, so I just want to kind of make this, 90 minutes to 2 hours now at the end of the day. We're basically going to talk about, music, music perhaps, movies and television, just sort of things what kind of shows we're watching, what movies we're into, what we've sort of been watching recently, and things like that. So, Liam, take it away.
You put me on the spot here, mate. Once again, I'm probably going to get a lot of slack for this, but I have recently been watching Glee on Netflix.
I take it it's in the US one now.
It is. We are now talking about Netflix US, because I do believe that the UK Netflix does not have Glee yet.
No, I don't think it does.
And the only reason why I enjoy Glee, or what I tell people, everybody loves to sing and a dance. You can't not singing and dancing and things. But really, my favourite actress of the past 4 or 5 years has been Jane Lynch, who plays Sue Sylvester.
Yes, I know that character. I know that's a lot of people's favorites as well.
Now, watching her, don't know if you watch a program called Criminal Minds.
No, my mother actually likes that show, so she does.
She plays one of the FBI, the analysis people. One of their main characters is mother. If people are listening and they watch Criminal Minds, you'll know that she's the mother of Spencer, and she has some sort of mental illness. I believe it's schizophrenia. But in every acting role, whether it's Sue Sylvester or Spencer's mother, whatever she does is just absolutely phenomenal to me. So the main reason why I've been watching Glee is because of her. Other things that I've been watching recently. Do you remember the Wonder Years back in the 80s?
I've actually just been started watching that on Netflix myself. I never watched it back when it was on, but I actually started watching it myself. I watched the first few episodes.
That I've been starting to get into because they originally used to show it, I believe, on one of the music channels. I don't know if it was Viva or MTV or something like that. It was a few years back now, but they never shown the ending of what happens at the end of it.
Well, that's a bit of a cock tease.
I completely jumped like 100 or so episodes just to watch the finale. And it was, because Fred Savage was getting a bit big because he was in The Wizard, wasn't he, Fred Savage?
Yes, Wizard, pretty much widely renowned movie that pretty much advertised the shit out of Nintendo products.
That is another film that I saw recently, which we'll get into later on. But it seems to me ever since I don't know if Fred Savage was recording The Wonder Years the same time that they recorded The Wizard, but what are we talking about again? I completely forgot then.
The Wonder Years. Well, yeah, The Wonder Years was actually and The Wizard came out I think 1990 or 1989 or something. Anyway, it was like The Wonder Years. Anyway, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, but to me, it seemed like the abrupt ending of The Wonder Years. It was just the very last episode was kind of like summing it all up. There was no because I don't want to spoil it for you if you just started watching it, but it was like a screeching halt, if that makes sense.
Well, I think it went on to like 92, 93, I believe, the Wonder Years, so it was long after The Wizard came out now, so...
Okay, so I need to do my research more. There's going to be comments saying, do your research.
Don't worry, I listen to the All Gen Gamers podcast, and sometimes they talk about games or something, and every time they sort of, it's a pet peeve of mine, in that whenever they get like a gaming fact wrong, or if they get it like a year wrong, I just go,
So I'll definitely do my research for next week.
But I'm not gonna like say fuck you now. It's like, get your facts straight now because you're my co-host. I don't wanna piss you off.
No man. I understand. I should have been more prepared. I've had a good week and a half to sit down and do some research. But other films I've been watching was a little film called The King of Kong. Have you seen The King of Kong?
I've been meaning to watch that for the longest time, but I haven't yet.
I originally watched this back when I first got the US version of Netflix. There are different other gaming kind of like documentary films that are out there, but the only one that I've seen so far is The King of Kong. And if you are a listener of Total Rock Radio, have you ever listened to that, my friend?
No, I don't really listen to a whole lot of radio stations. I just listen to like two, like just for certain shows.
Okay. The Friday afternoon 3 o'clock slot is, okay, that sounded quite rude, but the 3 o'clock slot is always filled in, or usually filled in, by a a member of the gaming community. She is a host on Jinx TV. You must have heard of Jinx TV. Have you?
Is that Julia Hardy?
It is. And
Yes.
each week she tells, she tries to include her listeners, and she tells, invites people to watch a film of the week. And this week's film of the week was none other than King of Kong. So I've gone back and I've watched that. My opinion of Billy Mitchell still hasn't changed. I still think he's an arrogant ass. He's up himself and so much, whether that's the way that the editing had gone on or whatever.
So he's up his ass so much that he actually comes out again from up to his stomach and out his own neck again.
He does. He kind of like turns himself inside out, Yeah. A little bit of a going back a bit. Do you remember the Simpsons Halloween episode where they kind of breathed in that green smog which turned people inside out?
Yes.
It's kind of like that. But really,
yes.
If you haven't seen it before, then definitely check it out because, Steve Weeby's kind of like... Because over here in the UK, I'm not sure if they do in Ireland, but over here in England, we always root for the underdog.
Yeah, I'm lost there. Yeah, pretty much underdog. Yeah, of course.
So Steve Weeby is kind of like the up-and-comer, This is way before Hank Chen or Hank Xian. I can't remember how to pronounce his name. But this is way before Hank Chen came on the scene. So you had Steve Weeby, challenging Billy Mitchell, and he sends his tape in and everything, and he gets noticed. And then this other guy is all against Walter Day and Twin Galaxies. So he sends Steve Weeby a kind of like an arcade cabinet, kind of like, I don't know if you call them a motherboard or something.
I wouldn't know. I'm not really into the whole arcade scene now. It's pretty much more, Jumble Junkie, Tim's, and other people's expertise.
Okay, I'll just go on about the film anyway, so you can watch it. So this guy goes over, tampers with, or gives, I shouldn't say tampers with, he gives him a separate motherboard or arcade board, and then Steve Weeby manages to beat Billy Mitchell's score. Now, he's posted off his little videotape to Walter Day at Twin Galaxies, and then Walter Day or Billy Mitchell or somebody gets wind that the person who doesn't, who was used to be involved, but kind of like is the Judas of the whole Twin Galaxies side, gave Steve Weeby this arcade board. Now, a couple of people, can't remember who they are, I'm never good with names. I can barely remember my own name, let alone anybody else's.
It's Liam.
Yay! I know my name is written in my underpants. But yeah, these other guys, they go over and they basically, I wouldn't say destroy, but they take apart Steve Weeby's arcade cabinet. So the only way that Steve Weeby can get recognition, and when he goes to, I can't remember the place once again, I'm no good with places name. I think it's like Fun Spot or something like that. I'm probably getting it completely wrong.
I think it is Fun Spot.
But they go, Steve Weeby goes to wherever this Fun Spot is, and he does, he beats it live in front of everybody. He gets to the final kill screen. And sneakily, Billy Mitchell sends a tape to Fun Spot, wherever they are, and, he records him getting like 1 million points or something. So, for once, Billy Mitchell's on top of the world for about 25-30 minutes, and then they see this video, whether it's been tampered or anything, but I won't spoil the ending for you, whether or not Steve beats Billy or Billy beats Steve, but, it is a really, really nice gaming documentary / film that every gamer should go out on a whim and watch.
I know it's like, yeah, a lot of people on the gaming community have pretty much have mentioned that film, wherever it may be. So I haven't even watched it yet. I know it's on Netflix UK, I believe, as well as the US one, and I mean to watch it for the longest time, and probably watch it later today.
So, mate, that basically, other than gaming, sums up what I've been watching recently. If you'd like to take it away now and tell us what you've been watching.
Yeah, I've been using Netflix quite, well, not a whole lot now, but quite regularly though, and I'm just very much glad because that was one of the things that I was a bit jealous of our US brethren, that they had Netflix and they had loads of these shows, loads of these films on, and we had zilch. We had the Soon Marketplace, whoop-de-doo. We had like the Sky thing came then, like the Sky on demand came, but like only if you're subscribed to the movies that you can use it.
Yep.
Whoop-de-doo again. But last January we got Netflix, and that's pretty much I've been using it a lot now. Now, the sort of series that I've been actually mainly been watching over the last several weeks has been Angel. Now, do you ever watched Angel or Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Angel, that was the sub-series with David Boreanaz, I believe.
Yeah, David Boreanaz. Yeah, have you watched any of them?
I haven't. I must admit, I have never seen. I was a big fan of Buffy back in whenever the times was with Willow and or the other vampires or vampire slayers, I should say, but never sat down and watched Angel.
Yeah, I only got the Buffy the Vampire Slayer series last summer. Well, late last summer now. That I got on like eBay, the whole DVD collection, and I pretty much watched all of them in the space of like maybe a month or so because I was just so addicted to watching it. The fact is that actually one day that I watched about 13 episodes in one day, and that was on a Sunday. So I pretty much spent like 9 hours or so watching the series. Now, I love it. And I heard a lot of people on Twitter that I follow though have been saying, you should watch Angel. Angel's better. I like the Angel better than Buffy. And I decided to watch it though because I actually was going to get the DVD set as well of it though, and I did get on DVD on eBay, but bit of a long story. Long story short, I pretty much got screwed out of this from this eBay seller who pretty much I paid for the item, but I never received it because they never sent it, and I got refunded, and that seller's actually no longer registered. So when I seen it on Netflix, I decided to watch it, and I've watched the first series, and I've watched I think just the first two episodes, I believe, of the second series, and I'm very much enjoying it. It is a pretty old show. It was back in 1999, 2004. That's when it ran. But I very much enjoyed it. It just has that kind of, cheesy sort of acting, cheesy humor, perhaps cheesy action that, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is kind of famous for. But I personally loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer when I watched it, and I'm very much enjoying Angel at the moment as well. And hopefully it doesn't get taken down from Netflix anytime soon because sometimes they do take certain shows down after a certain period of time. As I said, as you've been saying as well that you watched The Wonder Years, I just started watching it as well. I just watched the first couple of episodes, and it's pretty much a show I can very much get into. It's kind of old, 20 years old in fact, and of course it sort of tells the story of this family in the 1960s. Very much enjoying it. I haven't really been watching a whole lot of other stuff now, apart from certain wrestling. Now I don't know if you're actually interested in wrestling whatsoever, are you?
I could talk hours about wrestling. I could tell you that for nothing. I could talk hours about it.
Right. As I was saying, I found out on Netflix as well that there are certain WWE sort of, bios or the, collections on there as well. I watched the true story of WrestleMania that was like last week there, and I very much enjoyed it. I've been watching the Rock one, which was released a few years ago. I think it's just The Rock, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment.
Yep.
Which pretty much is just like a collection of matches. Were you going to say something there?
No, I'm just agreeing with you that I've seen that as well, my friend.
Yes. and I've been that's pretty much the ones I've been watching though. I actually watched with my brother last night there, even though I already have it on DVD, but I just told him you should watch this. It's pretty good. It's the rise and fall of WCW. Now, have you seen that?
I have.
What did you think of it?
Well, you've probably got a better recollection of WCW itself because you probably grew up with it. I was only a wee nipper when WCW and WWE were came together and fought each other in the Monday Night Wars.
I can honestly say I actually didn't grow up with WCW because it was my brother who actually kind of introduced me to wrestling because he sort of, grew up with it, from the 80s, 90s or so, and I didn't really start mainly watching it until about mid to late 90s, and pretty much watched it mainly from, that time till around, mid 2000s where it kind of went, downhill, and I don't really watch it nowadays. I don't know if you do watch it. Do you still watch WWE or TNA or any of those?
I watch TNA and WWE, both of those, I must admit.
Okay, so, but I don't really watch them. I just really just sort of check the results online and things like that now.
Yeah.
To me, it's just not as good as it once was. Like, there still might be some good matches here and there, but in terms of, the shows overall, certain wrestlers kind of suck in my opinion. But like I said, I can talk probably a while as well for wrestling. So again, but that's pretty much what I've been watching on the WWE side. Now just before I think that might be the end of it though. Have you seen the rise and fall of ECW?
I have.
That to me is probably still my favorite WWE bow. If you're a wrestling fan now, I don't know how many wrestling fans are going to be listening to this now, but I very much, if you've never seen it, I recommend it. It's still to this day my favorite WWE bio DVD they ever did though, because the documentary they did is like nearly 3 hours long, and it's chronicles from the whole ECW era from 1993 to 2001. What do you think of it?
Very interesting how Paul Heyman managed to build such a small company into what turned out to be, quite a big national company that got national exposure. It was just a shame that it didn't get as much recognition as it did, because you had the WCW, which was all run by power. You had the NWO and everything like that. Then you had the WWE, which was more focused on trying to beat WCW. And then you had the ECW, kind of like Karen in the corner, trying to break through the glass ceiling, but didn't quite get there. So when the time come for the Monday Night Wars, we all know what happened to ECW and WCW, but there was a lot of potential in ECW, and that is really, really down to only one of two men in my eyes, Paul Heyman and Terry Funk.
Yeah, exactly. Though I have to say I really enjoyed that now, and I didn't grow up with ECW either because I remember it used to be on like Bravo here.
Yeah.
If you remember that channel, and I remember watching the first time, and I don't know when year it was, like what time it was, but I remember just watching it and basically listening to the commentator Joey Styles, and when he goes, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
I remember me and my brother absolutely pissing ourselves laughing at that there because it was just so unexpected, and we found it hilarious.
Another wrestling documentary that I suggest you check out this week is a little documentary called Beyond the Mat.
I have actually got that, and I actually have seen it as well. It's very interesting indeed.
It's, what was it, 98, 99 that it was released?
99, because the last part of it is goes through the Royal Rumble match with Mankind and The Rock.
Yeah.
They quit match. So 99.
And unfortunately after that we all know what happened to Droz, don't we?
Yes.
With the old powerbomb by D'Lo Brown on SmackDown, so it is a really, really interesting documentary because it takes kind of like precedent from each side of the squared circle. You've got the older guy who's been there, been through it all. In Terry Funk, you've got the up and comer who's trying to break through because he has a very, very strange talent, Jules does, doesn't he, Darren?
Yeah, I have to admit though, it's been a very long time since I actually watched it, so I have to watch it again to sort of, just recollect
Yeah.
my thoughts on it.
Well, for the fans out there who aren't wrestling fans and probably won't see it, he can regurgitate things. So he eats things and brings them back up again.
Yes.
So I do apologise if you're eating or you've got a weak stomach, but there you go. That's his talent. And back then it seemed to be, wacky. To get through, you're either wacky or you had a really, really iffy talent. Because back then, very few people, or in my opinion, very few WWF superstars could wrestle as well as they can now. Now, that may just be me. I don't know what your opinion is on that, Darren.
And I think most of the WWE stars today, some of them can wrestle, but the thing is as well, because some of them are so restricted into like the WWE things, because there's certain wrestlers, CM Punk for example, I think he's a good wrestler. The thing is that he used to come from an indie promotion known as Ring of Honor, and he was also in TNA, and pretty much he can, show his full potential there, where when you go to WWE, you have to go to like the training or whatever and kind of get restricted to its guidelines pretty much. But unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of wrestlers nowadays that, like, in terms of new ones, I can say I really like. Like, I still like, I'm a big fan of Chris Jericho.
Yep.
I've really enjoyed his work, though, pretty much ever since he debuted in WWE. Like I say, I never grew up with WCW. And I really enjoy his work as well, and a few others. But as you said, like, I think the talent back then was a lot better than it is nowadays.
Going back to the whole CM Punk debacle, it's the same with Daniel Bryan, isn't it?
Yes, he was also in Ring of Honor as well, and he kind of like, he quite showed his full potential there, pretty much was like an awesome wrestler, and then bring to the WWE and kind of, restricted to their guidelines and kind of can't show their full potential. And you can understand for certain reasons why, because you don't want them to get very injured very like regularly and things like that now, and do like some like, high spots and things like that, or submission techniques and whatnot now. But but they still do like, they're still like good wrestlers, they're still good workers for the most part anyway. But some of them just like, they suck. Why are they still there?
Yeah.
Mark Henry is, for example, I don't know
the
why
great
he's still
Khali.
Yeah. Oh god.
We could probably reel off like all the people that we dislike and can't wrestle, and leave us with about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. It's starting to turn out to be more like a circus now than it is a wrestling promotion.
But like as I said, it's been pretty much kind of for the last several years though. But like, I watch it every now and again. I kind of just tune in and out from it. I know someone who like watches it from time to time as well, who's kind of a big wrestling fan. But like as I said, it's just, I think I just really enjoyed it back when it was late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. That was when everything, everybody was battling each other, but now it just seems to be like Vince has no competition because he sees none in TNA, so he's just letting everything slide.
I can say I haven't really been into TNA at all, though I never really got into it though. There was a channel that used to be on here in the UK in Sky. It was known as the Wrestling Channel.
Yes.
And it basically it showed TNA and like Ring of Honor and these like other like indie promotions, and then it kind of pretty much became an MMA channel, which I can honestly say I'm not into MMA. I don't dislike it. I don't say it sucks now. I'm just not into the MMA, UFC, Strikeforce, all them. Are you into that? sort of thing and all?
I watch it occasionally if there's fighters on the card which I enjoy, but I wouldn't sit through a full, it's a 3 or 4 hour show, isn't it?
I could not tell you whatsoever.
But the main person to talk MMA about is Andy of Rad Rascals podcast. He loves MMA.
Yes, yeah, and I believe his fiance really likes MMA as well.
Yeah. I could just see them on there, up on the aisle, wedding dress and suit, Andy gets Caroline or Caroline gets Andy. That's his fiance's name. And,
Yes.
Vicar says, do you take this man to be your lawful wedded husband? And she's there, submission holding there. And he's like, I do. And I have a wacky sense of humour which you'll come to probably love and enjoy, or you'll loathe it when it comes to listening to the podcast. So, anything else, Darren, that you like to?
No, that's pretty much all. We can go on about the wrestling now, but as I said, I think we've gone on long enough. It's only 2 hours though, so I think that will do for this pilot episode. You may call it, of course it is.
Yes.
As I said before I go now, I'd just like to sort of, plug our channels on YouTube. Mine is Darro85 on YouTube, so it is. I'm also on Twitter at Darro capital M 85, and that's pretty much where you'll find me though, because I'm not part of Facebook, so I'm not, so you won't see me there whatsoever. So, Liam, take away with your plugin if you wish.
My YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, everything is all the same. Xbox Live, it's TheDonovanViper. TheDonovanViper. And that's for everything. You can find me Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. That's probably the only name that will come up. And that is me.
Okay, well, that's pretty much all there is. That's the whole kit and caboodle. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this now. Look forward to hearing your feedback, what we can do better, what you've liked, what you disliked. Pretty much the whole, same things that a lot of podcasts start out with. And hopefully we can improve on certain things anyway at the end when it comes to, progressing with this podcast now. And we'll sure to have some guests on, like we said at the start now, and, take, use your questions and things like that as well, if you have any. So anyway, from myself, Darren, Darro, and Liam, TheDonovanViper, goodbye, and we're signing out. So, ciao.
Thanks for listening.